One Word Movement, reporting in. I'm Shemetris Vital, and I am sitting here with Nicole. Nicole, it is such a pleasure for you to join me here in the One Word Movement studio. Let's just go right into it. You know that Monica has this One Word Movement, but before we get your one word, I just want you to tell us, who's Nicole?
Well, Nicole is a wife, a mother, but before all of that, I am a woman of God. And the greatest gift God could have gave me is the gift to be able to encourage others, as well as to be very tenacious in everything that I do.
Wow. Well, Nicole, I just went there with you, and I like how you defined yourself with the, you know, you're a wife, you're a mother, but first, you said you're a woman of God. And so that is something, and I think that speaks to other women who, you know, they take on those other titles, but then they just forget about who are they first. And so that's very, very powerful. And so, Nicole, I can't help but ask, because you know what you're here for, and we want you to tell everybody, what is your one word?
My one word is unbroken.
Unbroken. Well, I know anybody that's watching this, you know that the opposite of unbroken means broken. So let's see if we can find out what that means to Nicole. Obviously, you've been broken to now be unbroken.
Yes,
right?
yes. I've been married, then unmarried, to married again. And through all of that, God had really just kept holding on to me. When I thought that the world was trying to break me, when friends that I thought were friends were no longer friends, when people who you thought you could talk to that were always there for you. And it's funny because it's like when you're going through something, it's like that's when you really find out who's really there for you. And through all of that, just like I said, going through a very tough divorce, and then getting remarried, blending a family, also trying to maintain being a new wife. Also, then I had another child, job. A lot just came upon me. And through all of that, I developed a chronic illness, actually during my pregnancy with my second child, called ulcerative colitis, and which is stress-induced, but it's when you get ulcers in your intestinal lining. And it's not a very comfortable thing by far. And through all of that, even during my pregnancy, it became a very tough pregnancy. In fact, they wanted to induce my pregnancy, and I have a blood transfusion. And I just kept praying, you know, to God that, you know, just let me get through this pregnancy. Just let me go full term with my daughter. And He got me through. After that, in the diagnosis, I really sunk into a really deep depression. And then to aid to all of that, I lost my stepfather, who had raised me since I was 12. Then to aid to all that, my son was diagnosed with autism. So I had all of this on me, still trying to manage being this woman that God has put in place to be able to be all these different people, because we wear different hats for for a wife, for a mother at your job. And I just felt like I was alone. But through all of that, like I said, when people tried to break me down, tried to give me a title of what I should be or where I should be, God said, this is where I'm going to have you to be. And you will remain to stand. And through all of this, you will remain to be unbroken. You will be able to give other people some type of hope. And that's what I'm doing now. Presently, because all this happened like within the last 5 years. Fast forward to right now, I left my corporate job because at the time when I was going through all this, they weren't trying to give me any type of, they weren't trying to cooperate or any type of relief, and I was trying to take some time away, and I just, and they said no, and I was like, wow. But God said, just because they say no, that doesn't mean I'm not going to say yes, and He did that. And so here I am today, 2 years later, left my corporate job, but now I am the owner of 2 companies that I've started, CEO of a supply company, as well as I own my own eyelash studio.
Wow. Well, Nicole, if that's not a testimony, I know somebody out there, they just said, you know what, let me get up. Because one of the things that I heard when you said the unbroken and all the things that came is the stress, a lot of things were stress induced.
Yes.
But then when you decided to stand up, you know, and even when you begin to speak, I began to see some of those tears begin to just, they kind of come to your eyes. There's lots of women and even men out there who the stress of life has just overtaken them. But you said, you know, you went inside and you know, that's why I just said stand up, because you stood up and you said, and God said that you were going to be unbroken. You know, and a lot of people, we live on this thing of that I have to be broken. But God told you you didn't have to be broken. So you're unbroken. And I see in front of me a beautiful woman with a testimony. And it's just overwhelming to hear what you went through. And then now you say you own 2 businesses?
2 businesses.
And then you have another child.
Another child.
Oh my goodness. There's so many different things that I could ask you. But I want you to just, you've already spoken to them. But I know that there's something else in you just to encourage somebody that right now they're broken. How do they get past that broken place? Because you will definitely touch my heart. And I feel your heart. But talk to the woman or man that's broken right now so that they can say, you know what? I'm going to be unbroken like Nicole.
Well, first I'll say, children of God, that you have to first give it to God. And when you give it to God, don't just pray and just like you're speaking a prayer. And I'm getting emotional because this is what I went through. You have to feel it with your heart. You have to have God feel it to where it's such a feeling that you feel that He's just right there in front of you. So you have to give it to Him wholeheartedly. And you tell Him with a defined statement, with a defined purpose, as if you're standing and you're standing for what you have nothing left. And so you want Him to understand that you are standing like helpless. And you want Him to just take over. And that's what you do. You let God take over. You don't try to fix it. You don't try to find other ways to talk to other people to, you know, give someone else to try to encourage you. Right. You give it to God and you just stand and you just be silent until He shows you what's next. Because He will. But He wants to know where your heart is. He wants to know where your obedience is. And He wants to know where your faith is. And as long as you know that you are a child of God and that we've all been through stuff, but just know that as long as you are a child of God and that you are covered by His blood, that He is not going to leave you. And it may not happen next month. It may not happen next year. Like I said, my walk was 2.5 years. But here I am standing in a place that I never knew, never could even imagine that this is where I would be. So I would just say, just turn it over to God wholeheartedly. That's the first thing, wholeheartedly, with a purpose. And knowing that I'm not even going to give up on you, Lord, because you didn't give up on me.
Well, guys, that is a testimony. And I want you to know, you see her crying here right now, but that's not tears of shame, but it's tears of joy of what she has overcome. You may be out there right now and you turned this on and you heard the word broken, but you didn't hear the word unbroken. Nicole has been through some things, but you know what? The one thing that she said she did was she turned it over to God. You have to go through it. And I want you to be encouraged while you watch this, because Nicole is a living testimony. Those tears are nothing but joy. But I believe your brokenness can turn into unbroken. Thank you so much, Nicole, for your one word.
Thank you.